as Amy said, these slides will be put out with our newsletter. So let me just share my slides. There we go. Okay. This monthly webinar is managing stress. As Amy said, we've got a couple of resources which we have emailed out to you. I think Amy, for those that have registered late and have just kind of joined us, I think Amy will try and throw out an email, but she's been having some problems with her email, so she might come from a personal email. There might be something wrong with the server, but just look out for that. I will also be putting them on the I think they are in the chat function. Can you, for those of you that have got access to the chat function, can you see a couple of PDF documents in there? Yeah, so you can see them because I put them in early before you came in. So they are also in there as well. And I think I'll try and show them on the screen, but I think it's better if you actually have access to them. So okay, so let's make a start. I just want to kind of give you a little brief overview of Changing Minds Kent. We are a not-for-profit organisation. We're not a particularly big organisation. It's like 4 or 5 trainers and some admin staff and some various kind of officers that do kind of work in the community. So I just want to kind of everyone to sort of understand Changing Minds kind of role. So in the community, we are doing work with businesses, and so we provide a lot of kind of training, which I might tell you a little bit about later. That training sort of goes hand in hand with supporting like wellbeing projects in the community. So for those of you who have a business, you're interested in wellbeing, there is the added benefit if we help with training, that there's a bit of kudos that goes with kind of working with a not-for-profit organisation that's doing stuff. So this is us kind of doing kind of training in a corporate space up in London, mental health first aid, but then we're also kind of doing these kind of like well-being type activities with schools and stuff like that. So that kind of just gives you a sense of who it is that we are. Just a little bit about me. So I've worked in mental health for 20 years. I'm a mental health first aid trainer. I've been doing that, I don't know, 7, 8 years or so. Also kind of work as a positive psychology coach. I'm doing a master's in positive psychology, very interesting positive psychology. Psychology for many years was kind of orientated around what was wrong with you rather than what was right with you. Positive psychology, I'm interested in what's right with people. What are their strengths? What are their values? How can we build on things that make people report high levels of life satisfaction? And how can we do that within an organizational setting as well? So that's a particular interest of me, for me. I'm kind of undertaking research on employee well-being and the link between that and turnover intention, that is to say, like people leaving an organization, to what degree do those two things kind of correlate? So that's something I'm interested in from a research perspective at East London University. Now, having looked at your email addresses, I'm kind of aware that not everyone is local to me down here in Kent. So if you'd like to just use the chat function, let me know like where in the world you are. I'd just be kind of interested to know, because I've seen some email addresses. Some people are from the US, like some people are from the other side of the country. It would just be kind of interesting to sort of see where people are from. So we've got some people from Kent, some people from Kent County Council. Excellent. So we've got some people, some from Israel. Various different places. Somebody based in China. Excellent. Nigeria. So welcome to you all. I'm also interested in what it is that you do as well. So what is it that you're kind of doing for work? That would be interesting. Is this coming to the webinar today just a personal thing, or maybe you work in HR, or maybe you're a counsellor, or maybe you're interested in well-being for some kind of reason. So we've got people kind of working in schools, people working in HR, Excellent. Safety advisor in Ireland, construction, trainer, wellbeing facilitator for a charity. Welcome, Victoria. Youth justice practice. Excellent. Staff psychological wellbeing manager trainer. Excellent. Nice to have you with us, Robert. Maybe there's some helpful stuff. Excellent. So I just kind of get a nice kind of sense of different people coming at this particular issue about well-being in the workplace. So okay, great. That's nice. So I just kind of get a bit of a sense of kind of where people are at. Okay. So I just want to let you know we run a number of kind of workshops which we kind of provide online and at some point probably in person. This is just a kind of few of them. And today's session, it's just like a little bit of a taster. We're just taking a few kind of the ideas, a few models from the managing stress workshop that we run. And we're going to be taking a look at a couple of aspects. One, we're going to be looking at burnout, what burnout is, and how burnt out we are. And then we're going to look at, this is a nice particular idea. We're going to be looking at efficacy rather than efficiency. What's the difference between those two things? We're going to be looking at the concept of energy management when it comes to stress management. Okay, so we're going to start with a little quiz. And I think we have, do I have it as this? Here we go. So we're going to use the poll function here on Zoom. I'd like to kind of get a sense of, what people kind of think. And this is the statement, and I'd like you to sort of tell me whether you think this is true or false. Let me just kind of launch the true or false poll. So what do you think? 74% of adults have felt so stressed at some point over the last year that they felt overwhelmed or unable to cope. Now, this is 2018. This is before the pandemic. What do we think? Is it true? Is it false higher, false lower? We've got a lot of people voting. Yeah, I think most of you have voted. Oh no, maybe you haven't. Yeah, so we've got 30 people here at the minute. So just give you a couple of more seconds. If you can't find the poll button, don't worry. So this is what we're thinking as a group. Most of you think that's true. Some of you think it might be higher. Well, let's see. Well, that's actually true. 81% of women said this compared to 67% of men. You can also note it's probably higher for younger people, for those 18 to 24. It's really interesting, this, and this is not unusual that women might say that they're more stressed. There are reasons for that. If any of you have ever done mental health first aid, you'll know that there are statistics which show that women are diagnosed with various mental health issues more often than men. But that's not because women have poorer mental health. That's just because men don't actually either admit that there's a problem or that they go to a GP to get diagnosed. What you'll find with men, that there are higher rates of alcohol and drug misuse in order to kind of cope with stress and what have you. So that's not unusual or uncommon. Okay, let's have a look at our second one. Let me relaunch the poll and look at the second one here. 25% of adults say that they'd experienced suicidal feelings as a result of stress. Again, this is 2018, prior to the pandemic. What do we think? That's 1 in 4 adults saying that they'd experienced suicidal feelings. So we're not necessarily talking about a plan or even an attempt. We're just that kind of feeling of like, this is so overwhelming. This needs to stop. What do we think? It's quite mixed. I think most people have voted on that. Let me show you what you've answered as a group. So pretty mixed, really. A lot of you think that's true. The other half of you roughly sort of think that, yeah, that's probably higher. Let's have a look. Yes, well, so if you'd said it was higher, you would be correct. 32%, 1 in 3 adults said that they've experienced suicidal feelings as a result of stress. So this is I'm particularly interested, particularly as a mental health first aid trainer, how it is that we can reduce the tragic numbers of individuals who go on to take their life, and certainly stress can play a role in that. Okay, let's look at our final one. We just relaunched the poll again for you. Our third one, 16% of adults say they have self-harmed as a result of stress. So what's 16%? That is about 1 in 7-ish people, doing a quick bit of maths there. 1 in 7. So stress has been so bad that they've gone into self-harm. What do we think? Just give you a couple of more seconds to consider that. Okay, again, a little bit of a mixed bag there. Let me end poll, share results. So most people think that's true. Some of you suspect it could be higher than that. But it's interesting because something like self-harm as a behavior is one of those things that can go, it's a bit of a hidden thing because there's a real kind of stigma around that. So the other thing I was sort of interested with this, like, what do we mean by self-harm? There's even a bit of an issue there around kind of definition. Is going to the pub and drinking too much, is that self-harm? Well, I might consider that self-harm. Other people might not. So there's a real kind of issue around definition of self-harm. Anyway, the answer is true. So if you said true, you're correct. These stats, by the way, just from the Mental Health Foundation here in the UK, 2018. 18% of women said that compared to 13% of men. Again, higher with 18 to 24-year-olds. So just something to kind of bear in mind when you're kind of thinking about stress, that it is something that can affect young people, in your friend and family group and people that you're working with. Okay, so maybe let's move on. What's the time? 11:15. I think we're doing okay for time. Let me stop sharing this poll. Okay. So I just want to move the discussion on a little bit, and maybe it might get you to use the chat function because you seem to be kind of quite good at that. What's the difference between burnout and stress? So these are kind of words we have in our kind of vocabulary, kind of use these kind of phrases. Is it the same thing, burnout and stress? Maybe just a couple of comments in the chat function. Do you think there is a difference? Okay, Catherine saying burnout, just can't carry on. Okay, good. Anyone else got any kind of thoughts? Is there a difference between burnout and stress? Stress, finding it harder than normal, Catherine said. Beth says it's burnout the functional limit of the maximum amount of stress. Okay, yeah. Burnout, so Michelle Williams, burnout is unmanaged stress gone too far. Yeah, good. So I think the idea is, like, because we can use these kind of words a little bit interchangeably, but they're not quite the same thing. We all experience stress, but not all of us are burnt out. And a burnt out is this kind of idea when we're functionally we're unable to cope, and it's having an impact on our ability to work and do the things that we need to do in life. Yes, okay, yeah, thank you, Angela. Some interesting comments in the chat function. John says burnout equals can't carry on, stresses don't know how to carry on. Okay, yeah, that's good. So so stress is something we all experience. As the amount of stress goes up, we can get to the point where we feel burnt out, we're unable to cope. And one of the things that's kind of I found, and I'd be interested to see what you think. Feel free to throw a comment in the chat function on this. It's like this kind of idea of how easy it is to know when one is burnt out. And or thinking about colleagues who may be burnt out, it's not an easy thing sometimes to know that that's actually happening as a process. We normally just see it at the end when everything's become too much, and a person is displaying all manner of different behaviors. Then we go, oh, maybe they're burnt out, but there's actually a whole process to actually get them to that point. And actually being aware of that process can actually be a difficult thing, either for a colleague looking on or for even the individual themselves to sort of realize that that's what's going on for them. I've experienced burnout, and I'd probably describe it like um, being a car driving down the road and just breaking down every 100 yards. I don't know what's going on. And then I get myself up and going again. I start the engine, I get another 100 yards down the road, and then I stop again. And there's almost like a disconnection between what's going on for me and like cognitively, I'm sort of disconnected from myself. And I just think I can keep going, but I don't actually have the fuel in the tank to do it. So it's really kind of like, I suppose, just an illustrative kind of idea of the kind of link between stress and burnout. So what we have, just by way of a resource, and maybe just like to kind of spend a few minutes doing this, we have, and I think it's in the chat function, the burnout survey. You should have it in your email as well. Feel free to print it off. I am going to throw it up on the screen as well. It's not a great on the screen because there's a lot of let me stop sharing a second. There's a lot of kind of information on it. But what I'd like to do, just as a little task, is to, if you would like to, and of course you don't have to, but have a little look at the burnout survey and just do it for yourself. I will put it on the screen as well. So the burnout survey looks like this. Let me share this with you. So it looks like this. And let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. So we have these kind of statements here. And the idea is that you would kind of score yourself 1 to 5 on how often you sort of feel like this is happening for you. And so there's 28 questions. And the idea is that you would total them all up. The higher your score, the more likely, not to say that you are, but the more likely that you're heading towards burnout. So have a little look at that, either digitally and maybe use a bit of paper and just kind of add your numbers up. I will just keep it on the screen here and just see if I can. It's not brilliant. Yeah, trying to get as much on the screen as possible. Just going to give you guys a couple of minutes just to kind of add up some numbers. I think I might even do this. See how burnt out I am. So just a couple of minutes, and then I might use a poll just to sort of see where everyone is as a group. I always find these questions really interesting, even though I do this often. Um, so okay, just going to give you guys another minute just to do your last few questions and maybe do a quick total. The reason why I'm doing it at the same time is I make sure I get the timing right and just everyone has enough time to do this as a little exercise. Mm. Yeah, once you've scored yourself on these 28 questions, total up all of them. 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. Okay. Right. Again, if you want to, I think we'll probably leave it there. If you've had enough time to kind of score yourself, um, again, if you want to take a little bit longer, this in your own time, then you've got the PDF. This is something you can even share with other colleagues if necessary. But maybe I might just let's. I'm just going to put the poll up for the burnout survey score, and I'm just going to zoom in on this. Hang on, how do I zoom in? Here we go. So this is just kind of gives us a bit of a like a results, depending on what you've scored. Let me just kind of launch this. I don't know if everyone's had time to do it, but if you have, this is an anonymous survey, so don't worry, no one's going to be able to track you down. And there's no kind of embarrassment. It is what it is. Some people are more stressed than others. That's just where we are at as individuals. Great. So about half of you respond to this burnout survey score. Just give you guys just another couple of seconds, just in case someone's frantically adding up or they're trying, where's the calculator? Unfortunately, that obviously the more stressed you are, the higher the numbers. So you've got even bigger numbers that you've got to add up. As if life's not bad enough, you're trying to add up numbers up into the 90s and the hundreds. Okay, so I think it's always interesting to sort of get a sense of like where people are at. I've just done this. I've just scored myself 47. So it's medium, but it's there's a few things in there. And what I really like about this survey, sometimes you read a statement, you go, oh, that's actually true. And it kind of acts as a point of reference, and gives you something to think about. What's going on for me. A lot of them I scored ones, but there's a few that are threes for me, and that's something you can personally do. Have a little look back at yours. Where have you scored threes, fours, and fives? Maybe there's a starting point there. Maybe there's something you can do. So let me just end the poll there. So if I have 2/3 of you answer this. So the burnout survey score, quite mixed really. There are some individuals who really sort of feel like they are burnt out. And there's a number of you that would say it's high and very high. There's a real mix. For those of you who are high, I think it's hopeful to see that there are individuals in the bracket below you. That's something that we can kind of work towards. So yeah, just on that, very briefly, does anybody have any thoughts or comments? Anything you like about this? Is it kind of helpful? Is it kind of resonated with you in any way? Feel free to put something in the chat function. Oh, sorry, Angie, I've just seen you. Can you move the page up so I can see 19 and 20? I'll do that now. Oh, my page down. 19 and 20. There's 19 and 20. So yes, some really interesting kind of statements there. That's going to be really helpful. So the idea about the burnout survey scores, it allows individuals to sort of see where they're at, because of course we want to get away from this kind of idea that something like burnout, that it's a 1 and 0, that either burnt out or you're not. We're all undergoing stress. We're all kind of potentially moving towards something like burnout. And it's good to know where we're at, because we can know where we're at, we can actually start to take some remedial action. We can take a look at some of these kind of ideas, and maybe that starts you thinking about, you know, how it is that you're looking after yourself, what it is that you're actually doing. Can you do things differently? So just a couple of, oh, there's a comment from John. I scored quite low, but that could be down to starting a new job, honeymoon period, well, possibly. Do you see a big change in scores depending on length of time in a role or job? That's a great question. That sounds like a research project. How long have you been working here? How stressed are you? There is that kind of sense, isn't there? Obviously, you take on more responsibility, maybe the longer you are in a role. Angie says she's been with SEK for 16 years, scores 49. Yeah, I've been where I've been 20 years. My score is pretty similar. So, you know, kind of medium kind of stress. Beth's, my role, she's been there 5 years, scored 113. Beth, might have a conversation later on. Well, let's yeah, okay. So I'm just still I'm trying to talk whilst read the comments in the chat function here. So thank you for that. Great. So let me just yeah, stop showing that. So let's move on conversation. We're starting to run out of time. But again, this burnout survey, you've got that. That will be out in the what's it called, Amy? I've forgotten. In the email newsletter later on in the week, but obviously you might already have access to that, so that's great. And this is something that we use in our kind of managing stress workshop. So let me just see if I can find my slides again. Where are we? Okay, so yes, I'm just going to move on to this concept. So this is interesting. Share this with you. So this is the other thing I sort of wanted to share with you as a kind of model, as an idea. Is this idea of moving from efficiency to efficacy. These two words very similar, but maybe I might kind of illustrate it this way for you. So efficiency says, I've only got 1 litre of fuel left. I'm going to try and get as far as I can before I run out. Okay, whereas efficacy says, I've got 1 litre of fuel left. Where's the nearest petrol station? So you can sort of see there's a slight difference there. So efficiency can be problem focused. You know, what have I got to do? What have I got to get through? I've just got to do that job and then that job. If I can just stretch myself far enough, I can do these next 5 things. I will spend myself to get to the goal. I will sacrifice myself to get there. Efficiency, sorry, efficacy is a little bit more person-centered. It's more thinking a little bit more long-term. And unfortunately, with stress, people can achieve certain goals and complete tasks at the detriment to themselves. You know, they kind of run out of fuel and kind of get to the point that we're broken down. So to operate at our best, it's important that we understand where we gain energy from. What do we do to refuel? It's having an awareness of that. Our energy sources are closely connected to our basic human needs that cover mind, body, emotions, and spirit. These interact together to influence one another. Therefore, one source is not enough on its own. So what do we mean by these things? Sorry, 1 second. So obviously, when we're talking about our minds, 1 second. Yeah. So when we're talking about our minds, we're talking about our ability to focus on things. Now, I'm really interested in the impact that these have had on our lives. These phones where we can get our dopamine fix increasingly is making us more frenetic in our attention. Our attention's been grabbed by lots of different things, and that can be kind of quite unhelpful when it comes to looking after ourselves. I'm really interested in our ability to make sure that we're refueled from an emotional basis, that we develop this kind of idea of psychological flexibility, where we're actually aware of what's actually going on for us, in our bodies, like, bodily sensation, that we're aware, not disconnected from ourselves, like our head is just being carried around on this body machine, and that we're sort of disconnected within ourselves. And I'm also interested in the idea of spirit, not necessarily in a religious sense, but more in the sense that we're in tune with our values and our sense of meaning and purpose, because having an awareness of that is really important. That's something we study in positive psychology, the link between having an awareness of our value system and our purpose. Those types of things can really kind of increase resilience for people. So that's the basis of our model. And if you have a little look at the second resource that you have, it's boringly called energy management audit. And so I really don't like the idea of audits, because I just hate audits. I mean, who likes audits? I don't know why it's called audit, but the person who put together this together has called it an audit, unfortunately. But it's really interesting as an exercise to do. And so let me just share my screen. So you can see this is the energy management audit. We've got these 4 pillars for energy management. You should have the PDF again in the chat function. You might have it in your email inbox if you registered early. And the idea is that you would you tick if you think that is true for you. So these are things probably like not good things, like skipping breakfast. If that's true for you, tick that, and then score yourself for mind, emotions. What have I done there? It should be body. The top one. I need to change the PDF. The top one should say body. Sorry, body, emotions, mind, and spirit. So there's a little exercise for you to do. I like this one. Somebody's statements, like skipping breakfast, like I've done this morning already. So try and get all 16 on there. If you don't have access to the PDF, so just score yourself. Obviously, you can score as high as 4 for each area. Yeah, just to answer your question, Catherine, because I did answer it before, but yeah, there are 2 labelled mind on this. That's my mistake. Yeah, the top one should be body, how well we're looking after our physical bodies. Okay. So add up those 4 areas. That will give you a total score. Again, obviously, the higher you are, the poorer you are looking after your energy and kind of managing your energy. So we've got a little kind of score thing there. What have I scored? I've scored 4. So I've got reasonable energy management skills, but I've got a few things to work on. It's really interesting. You kind of know when you read some of these statements, you kind of immediately know, you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I should be doing that, but I'm not doing that. and maybe I could possibly do that. Maybe I need to start doing that a little bit more. So this kind of idea, I've included in the PDF here, this kind of idea of scoring yourself in the different areas. That might be helpful for identifying which area might need to take a bit of a look at. And then that leads on to, a basic self-care plan. So feel free to kind of fill that out for yourselves. And this, I like this idea. It comes from, you see the reference down here, managing your energy, not your time. So I know we can be very kind of time orientated in our thinking, or time and task orientated. Just have a little think about managing your energy, because when you are stressed, you're normally tired, and normally what's happened is you haven't been able to sleep properly, you haven't been eating properly, you haven't been exercising, you haven't been spending time with people. All the things that would give you energy to be able to cope with stress, those things have gone by the wayside. I like your dog, Beth. You should definitely take that dog for a walk later on. That might be helpful. Okay, so yeah, nice little thing. Feel free again to use this with kind of friends and colleagues. I've got a couple of people in the chat function saying reasonable. Is that in agreement that what I'm saying is reasonable? Have I spelt reasonable wrong on the PDF somewhere? Probably, because my spelling is atrocious. If you find any spelling mistakes, please let me know. Oh, that's the score, reasonable. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, good. So I do have a poll here. Maybe we could just kind of run this poll again, sort of see where you are at as a group. Let's have a little look. Energy management audit. So yeah, so you've got the 0 to 3, which would be excellent. 4 to 6, reasonable. 7 to 10, there are a good bunch of things you're not doing. 11 to 16, oh dear. I think you might need to put up a bit of a plan together. You don't have to do all of these things, but start doing some of them. So we've got 19 people answered, so about 2/3 of you. Just give you another couple of seconds. So this is interesting. I'll just end the poll there and share that with you. So one individual has got excellent energy management skills. So they've gone through and gone, yeah, I'm doing most of those things, which is great. Well done, you. There's a real kind of split between those that are reasonable, those that are in the sort of yellow zone, those who are in the red zone. So you're not there on your own, and this is quite a common thing. But yeah, I like this as a particular kind of exercise to do with staff, to do with yourself, because I think it very easily leads on to a basic self-care plan. So yeah, managing your energy, not your time. Looking after yourself. Don't expend yourself for the benefit of the task. It can become very short term. Like, you can get to that next stage, but what are you going to do after that? So it's really important to kind of make sure that you kind of build into the structure of your day the ability to look after yourself. Okay, let's have a quick look at a couple of other little resources, a couple of little other ideas. This is a lovely little idea that I have used and still use. Some of you may have read this, Hal Elrod, Miracle Morning. I love Lifesavers, a little kind of memory aid. So in the idea is kind of getting up a little bit earlier, so you don't feel like the day is rushing in on you. So for those of you who are feeling a little bit more stress, this is something that's been particularly helpful for me. Waking up a little earlier, going to bed a little bit earlier, because there's that time in the morning when things are quiet. It's nice to kind of run through this. So the SAVE is obviously memory aid. The S stands for silence. Maybe that might be some mindfulness for you, doing a little bit of meditation. It's nice to sort of feel the stillness of the morning. Affirmations, positive statements. There are loads online. Not all of them will resonate with you. There are some affirmations I'm like, that's so cheesy, but some of them will really resonate with you. And so find ones that you like, maybe create a note on your phone. You just have 4 or 5 and just take the time to kind of read them. They're like little scripts for your mind. They're like little ways ways of seeing the world, the ways of seeing your day, the way of seeing yourself. And they could be really good reminders. They could be things that we can forget when we're stressed. So affirmations is great. Visualization, I found that particularly helpful. So visualizing your day. What is it you're doing? What are you going to have for breakfast? What are you going to have for lunch? When are you going to exercise? When are you going to spend time with people? What tasks are you going to do? Plan yourself a reasonable day. That's helpful because you sort of feel like you're taking control of the day rather than the day taking control of you. Exercise. I love. I've started exercising in the morning. It doesn't have to be HIIT training. It could be just a walk. But exercising is. But choosing not to exercise in the morning is a little bit like going downstairs and taking the depressant pill. You're making that choice because exercise is the opposite of that. You're going, and actually it's a stimulant. It gets your mind going, and all the kind of benefits. I'm sure many of you are aware of the benefits of exercise. I'm going to tell you that, but doing that first thing in the morning, that could be really helpful to kind of build it into your routine. Reading something, taking something in of value, giving something that links maybe with your value system, something that inspires you. So have something ready for that. And finally, the S is scribing, or AK journaling. I find that also very helpful. What's going on for me at the minute? What am I worried about? There's something about the process of writing that can be really helpful in actually changing our relationship with the world, relationship with ourselves, relationship with our work, the things that we're doing. Start writing down what's in your head. What are you worried about? Because when you've written it down, sometimes it can be really helpful in challenging maybe some of the things that aren't true, accepting how you're actually feeling. So that's a great one. That's Lifesavers. So I'll just kind of leave you with that. If you want to get into that a little bit more, then that's a book you probably find on Amazon. For those of you who are HR managers and you're feeling stressed and like, what can I do from an organizational perspective? I just want to share this with you. This is like a little workplace wellbeing quiz survey. It looks like this. Here's the URL, orgwell.scoreapp.com. So there's something that we put together, Changing Minds. Maybe I will just quickly throw that in the chat function. Oh yeah, Amy's put that one there. It's updated now, Amy. It looks like this. So I updated the other day. So this is looking at well-being from an organizational perspective. We've got this kind of model, the START model, where START is linked to these 5 areas: having a strategy, what training you have, how you advertise what it is that you do in an organization, how you respond to individual need when that's necessary, and how you test and monitor well-being. So if you're interested in doing a free little kind of survey, kind of showing up, where maybe you might be able to make improvements on an organizational level, then take that test. You might find my colleague Colin might drop you an email just to say if you'd like to talk, if there's anything we can do, especially because obviously we offer the kind of training and stuff like that. There might be something that we might be able to help with. But yeah, it's a handy little survey tool, and you kind of get like a score thing that looks like that for the different areas. Okay, where am I? I'm here. Slideshow. So yeah, that could be helpful. Just to let you know, next month we're going to be at the Excel in East London Corporate Wellbeing Expo. If you want to go along, if you want to come along and meet. Oh, hang on, let me go backwards. No, it's all going wrong. The slideshow is going wrong. I wanted to try and copy that. Maybe that will be in the newsletter. Yeah. So if you're anywhere near East London, I don't know if anyone is, and if you fancy a trip out and come and say hello to me and Colin and some of the other trainers and stuff, then we're going to be at the Excel Corporate Wellbeing Expo, and you'll be able to come and see us. I just want to let you know about a little bit of the training that we do. We have 4 or 5 kind of mental health first aid trainers. That's something that is kind of helpful from an organizational perspective. I sort of say gold standard. So it's a great place to start in an organization, having some individuals who are trained in mental health first aid. Again, we've got a video there that will tell you a little bit more about that. These slides will go out with the newsletter next week. It comes in various flavors: 2-day, 1-day, half-day. So depending on your organization and what time and awareness you got. It's a great course. It's great for increasing awareness around mental health, increasing confidence of being able to signpost people. So this is training that we kind of deliver quite a lot in organizations. And then other training we kind of offer it are some of these. So you've had a little taste of the managing stress. There's a whole other kind of exercises and handouts and stuff that we do in the managing stress. But yeah, we do a number of other kind of training. If you're interested in finding out what it is we do, check our website out. Final thought really, it's just around kind of social value. There's a picture of Margate, which is just up the road for me. If any of you have been down to Margate, it's much nicer than it used to be. Should be going out there later this evening for something to eat. But yeah, so we're a local organisation and a non-profit organisation. And so if as a business you're looking to link with a training organisation that actually is also doing kind of work in the local community with schools and younger people, then there's a nice kind of kudos that kind of goes with that as something that some of our partner organisations like to be able to promote they kind of work with those individuals. So that's probably enough from me. If you'd like a cup of tea and a chat over Zoom, probably, especially if you're in Nigeria or Texas or wherever some of you are from, then yeah, feel free to email me. That's me, Thomas.jeffs at changingmindskent.co.uk. Got a couple of the other trainers and directors there. We have in the chat function, Amy's put a few links there to our some information about some of the training and some videos and stuff on there. There's a link there to our Eventbrite page where you've got other webinars and stuff going on. And of course, we are running some mental health first aid training. So I think there's some spots available for 2-day, 1 day. I think we're doing some youth ones as well. Is that right, Amy? Yeah, so all the kind of training that we're doing is on there. That's what we're delivering via Zoom. So if you're interested in just a little taster, maybe just come along and do one of those, then you're more than welcome. I think we've got some discounts on there as well at the minute, haven't we, Amy? Yes. Yes. Excellent. Great. Thank you for coming along. I think we've got some time for questions. Oh, good. Look, it's only 5:02, 10:02, so I've managed to do inside the hour. If you have any questions, feel free to put them on the chat function. I can't promise that I'll know the answer. I wish I could take everyone's stress away. Hopefully you've found something of value in today. And yeah, it's nice to meet you. Maybe might see you another time. Maybe might see you on another workplace wellbeing webinar next month. I don't know what we're doing next month. Yeah, have we got I haven't said Amy, have I? Who knows? Maybe, yeah, could be something really interesting. Probably will be. So yeah, might see you next month if you want to just come along and pick up a few ideas. That'll be fine. Oh yeah, look, Amy's put in there, subscribe to our mailing list. We don't put out a lot of emails, but if there are resources and videos of there's things going on, this training, we'll just kind of send out an email once a month. So if you click on that, subscribe. Am I right in thinking that if you've registered for this, Amy, you probably put people on the list? They can always unsubscribe if they're finding your monthly newsletter annoying.
Yes, yeah, that's right. So if anyone joined us via the Zoom link, either on LinkedIn or Facebook this morning, rather than registering for it through Eventbrite, if you'd like to receive our next newsletter, which will include a link to today's recording and all of the resources that Tom has used or mentioned, then if you hit that subscribe now, then you will receive a copy of all of that information when it comes out in the next couple of weeks.
Excellent. So we've got a thumbs up from Audrey. Thank you from Natasha. Yeah, any other questions? Now is the time, or you've got my email address, so if you have a burning question, you can always throw me an email. That's absolutely fine. It's nice to see you, those at the camera on. Thank you very much, because it's always nice to see people rather than talking to black squares. You know, it's nice to know there's someone actually there listening. So thank you, Emma and Beth and Deborah and who else is there, and Catherine. So yeah, lots of thank yous on the chat. I can't see any questions, but yes, enjoy the rest of your afternoon and of course the weekend. And yeah, thank you for spending the time with me. Yes, that's fine, Angie. That's fine. I understand that. Too much going on in the background to have the camera on. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. It's just always just nice just to have a couple of people to be able to see. Hi, Audrey. To say I have done kind of training before, and everyone's got their camera off, and it's really difficult because you know, like Zoom's hard enough as it is, you know, but trying to talk to people and trying to gauge people's reaction. Did they understand me? Is anyone even there? Am I just talking to, you know, a wall somewhere in an office? Delivering at the door, very useful. Okay, yeah. So yeah, thank you for your time, everyone. I don't think we've got any questions. Got any questions, Amy? No.
Just a mention that we do actually, one of our bespoke workshops is a Beat the Stress workshop that Colin runs, isn't it? So
Yes.
anyone in their organisation would like a specific kind of training session with their staff around this topic, then we're able to deliver that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got that as well. Yeah, so if that's something you're kind of interested in, then, you know, drop us an email. We can have a conversation. So that's primarily, you know, a lot of our work with businesses is kind of coming in and kind of doing some kind of like a well-being kind of plan for the year, where we kind of, you know, get training in, and also some other things which actually go down really well. We have a well-being pod. We've got this big sort of like 4 meters. So for those of you that are local, sort of Kent and London, we've got this big kind of 4 meter by 4 meter gazebo thing with like a bar, and we do lots of like kind of staff engagement stuff. So for those of you who've got like larger kind of staff groups, that works really well. We've done that a number of times in businesses and schools and doctors' surgeries and stuff like that. People come out in dribs and drabs, 2 or 3. We do little surveys and stuff with them on iPads. We kind of interact with them. We do their blood pressure, you know, and normally we have people's blood pressure really high, and we're like, you know, you stressed? What's going on? Like, maybe you just need to see the doctor. Just nice to have an opportunity, and it's also good with our you know, our well-being coaches, sort of trained, you know, so we have kind of coaches and counsellors as well-being coaches who come on these kind of well-being pods. We run them for a few hours, depending on the size of the staff group, and they've been really helpful in just starting conversations and just getting people thinking about their well-being a little bit more. So yeah, we use it's something you would see if you come along to the Excel, but we've kind of got these kind of iPads where people can actually do a well-being survey, and they'll actually email them a score, a workplace. So we use something called Perma Plus 4. So it's a well-being survey that's just been developed last year by a couple of guys down in South Africa. So that's a great survey. It looks at 9 different areas of well-being in the workplace, part of the I think one of the Perma. So Perma is a model developed by Martin Seligman, 2011, and there's a couple of academics who kind of built off the back of that and developed a workplace well-being kind of survey, 9 different areas, looking at different aspects of well-being. So that's really kind of helpful for measuring well-being. That's something that we do in these pods. So we kind of, it's a good way of kind of collecting data for an organisation, sort of see where people are actually at, and maybe we do a couple, maybe some training in between and stuff like that. So we should get some pictures, Amy, of like doing the well-being pods and stuff like that. But yeah, they're quite, because they're very informal, kind of people like them. So that's something that we do. So if you're in Kent and you think, oh, that could be quite helpful, then that's something that we have been doing, depending on what the COVID situation is, obviously, and what the workplace setting is like. Sometimes we can pitch up outside in a car park just outside the offices and stuff like that, or in an entranceway or foyer. So that can be quite helpful. Just having those kind of informal conversations with individuals, and also just letting staff know, actually, this is something people are concerned about. You know, if you are in HR, if you're in management, it's hard to kind of communicate that you're interested in people looking after their well-being. But this is a nice way of being able to do that, you know, and actually have a morning. And it's interesting. People have the scores, and then people start comparing. You know, so there's a bit of nudge theory kind of going on. Like, what did you score? I scored this. I need to work on that particular aspect of my well-being. So it's good for kind of getting conversations going, and normalizing the idea of going, well, what's my well-being, and am I looking after myself? As employees and managers, I mean, although I work for Change in Minds Kent, I also help run a health and social care organisation with about 100 individuals. And I'm aware I can't look after everybody's well-being. But if I can kind of promote the right kind of ideas, if I can get people to support each other, and be aware of, then that's really helpful. And so something like a well-being kind of question, especially one that's kind of scientifically validated, rather than one I just made up the top of my head, that can be really kind of quite helpful for people. So yeah, thank you for spending the morning with us. It's nice to meet you all. Feel free to drop us an email if you've got any questions about anything. Maybe might see you another day. And yeah, enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Take care.
Thanks, Tom. Bye now.
Take care, Catherine. Thank you.